afternoon, all of you. Who is Arab Singh? Here a name, Arab Singh. Who is that? What is your roll number?
There is no one of such name.
Yes, I know that. So, can Arab Singh unmute yourself? Arab Singh, unmute yourself. Otherwise, I'm going to send you in the or remove you. So I'm removing Arab Singh. Somebody whose name is showing as Arab Singh. Let me remove him or her. Okay, still students are joining, so I'm waiting for them. Today, what we will study is everybody is ready. All of you are ready.
Ma'am. Hello.
Yes, tell me.
Ma'am, Arab Singh is from our class.
Arab Singh is from Arab Singh.
Actually, he had joined from his brother's ID.
Yeah, that is the thing. Arab Singh is not his name, isn't it?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, that is the thing I was saying, that his name is not there is no one named Arab Singh in your class, because by this time I know all the names. Still, I have removed him because he did not unmute. If he joins again, I will allow him with his own name. Okay. Now, let me check how many of you have joined. Wait, let me stop the share. 37 students have joined. Where are the other students? Do one thing, all of you give your attendance first. Give your attendance. Twenty-three students have given the attendance. 37 students are there. See, just the 24 students have given. So where are the other students? They have just joined and then they are not there. I have sent all of you the assignment. The questions which are marked green, you will answer those questions. Answer means you will solve it in the SQL prompt. All of you have Oracle and you will solve there. Take the snapshots and then send me. Write the query in your hand, join the snapshots, and then send me within Sunday. And the first problem year D, don't attempt, and the ones that are marked yellow, don't attempt for the time being. Once I complete teaching it, maybe most probably today, by tomorrow I will complete it, and you will be able to attempt those questions too. Okay. So let me start. So we are going to study about certain data models today. Okay, all of you sit with your copy. We will study with
Excuse
data
me, ma'am.
models. What are data? Yes.
Ma'am, can you give us more time for the assignment, please?
Why? Is there any
Yes,
reason?
ma'am. Please, ma'am. Ma'am,
What is the reason?
Ma'am, we already have
We
one or
already
more
have a
assignments,
Java assignment, ma'am.
now our internals
Yeah.
is very near, ma'am.
and we have test also.
Yes. But you should, because see, in the class test, I will be giving you from SQL. So if you don't attempt this, then how you will attempt in the class test? Because I have already
Ma'am,
shown
we
you
will submit the
one day.
assignment before the test.
Your test is from 19th, isn't it? And the next week.
Yes, ma'am.
So from next week, I have given you time till Sunday. You can take time, it is upon you. But the thing is, what I want is, why did I give you this? Because in the class test, I'm going to give from SQL. Some questions will be there from SQL. Okay, because I have already, theoretically, I had one day said you, 1 or 2 days, I said you about SQL, many commands from SQL. Another day I showed you from SQL. Today also I will, if I get time, I will show you. And that is the reason I wanted that you should solve these questions so that you can solve it in the class test. This was my objective. If you want to take time, you can, because it is upon you. If you want to take time, no problem. Okay, but don't think that class test will not have SQL queries. Class test, I will be giving questions. Okay. And you'll fix the date, and in the classroom you'll mail me that, you'll send me that we will submit within this date. Okay, because I have already given a date. Whatever date you prepare, you think that you will be able to give, you just inform me that. Okay, so that I can change that the date, the due date, I will change it according to your need. I will change it so that it won't be late. It won't show late when you submit your assignments. So don't start it today. So my suggestion is, don't, those who have already started, stop. Don't do it today or tomorrow. Let me complete. I will also teach you some other parts which I have marked yellow. Those things also I will be teaching you. So wait till tomorrow, and then if you get time, you try to attempt the questions. Now, and I don't want to put too much pressure. If you have Java and other things, you can do those, obviously. I can, in that case, I can change the date. Okay, so let's start. Today we are going to see, I have not completed that normalization. 5NF is left, and we are also going to solve much more problems, but not today because syllabus is very huge. I am trying to cover according to, so that in the class test you can attempt these questions. So I'm teaching in that way, and these year D is also required for your assignment. Since I have shifted to year D, but don't think that normalization is completed. I will carry on with it again whenever I get time. I will teach you the remaining parts, and we will do some problem solving also. What is here? This is a book whose author is Porth. Okay, I have the soft copy of the book. I will mail you this soft copy. Now, this is second chapter. This is the second chapter. The first chapter, I will, since I will mail you the soft copy, you will go through the first chapter. First chapter, it is a little bit theoretical chapter, the first one. Who is a database administrator? What is the definition of database? These things are there. Along with the architecture, Oracle architecture, I have already said you, and that architecture also you will be able to understand if you go through the chapter. Okay. Now, so I will not teach you that chapter except some like what is logical independence, physical independence. These things I will tell you. Once you go through the chapter, I will tell you whichever part is required to be explained. I will explain you that. Don't worry about that. Now, data models is the second chapter. What is a data model? It is said that it is a collection of conceptual tools for describing data, data relationships, data semantics, and consistency constraints. The meaning is what? There is a theoretical model. Suppose you have your data, you are preparing your database. Now, for doing all these things, you require a model, a set of rules, okay, a design. So first of all, I don't start my SQL queries or PLSQL queries. What I do the designing part. So what should be my model? That model will be followed by the database. I will design the model first. Okay. So there are different categories of data models. What will be the model? What the model will describe? The model will describe what is the relationship among the data, what are the constraints that can be present in the data. These things will be designed by the model. These things will be theoretically the relationships, the constraints will be present in that diagram, in that model. Okay. Following that model, once the model is given to me, I will follow that model, and then the database, whoever is designing the database or whoever is creating the database, that database user will follow the model and then will develop the database. Now, these models are of different categories. Okay. Since we are dealing with RDBMS, we will talk about entity relationship model. Entity relationship model. What is this entity relationship model? It consists of entities, relationships. What are these entities? What are these relationships? We will know one by one. Let me come to the diagram so that I can explain you properly. Let me come to a diagram. I will explain all these things. Yes, I have a diagram. Let me talk about consider this diagram and I will explain you one by one. What we are doing? We are doing entity relationship model. Why I'm talking about entity relationship model? Because following this model, the model will describe certain relationships among the data, will describe the data with certain attributes and other things, and then we will follow that relationship model and we will design our own create tables and other normalization, other things we will do. Now, what is an entity? This rectangle is known as an entity set. Listen carefully. This rectangle is known as an entity set. So, customer is an entity set here. Loan is an entity set here. What is an entity set? Before an entity set, in other words, we can say entity set is a set of entities. What is an entity? Entity set is a set of entities. Now, what is an entity? An entity is a thing or object in the real world that is distinguishable from all other objects. For example, here customer is an entity set, then each customer, suppose I have customer, a particular customer, okay, that customer, or I have a tuple, customer CID, name is ABC, address is this. So these are the details. Now customer is, each customer is known as an entity. If I have multiple customers, then I say that considering all those customers, individual customers, if I collectively, I will say it is an entity set. So what is an entity? The individual customer, the individual person is an entity. If I have multiple such persons, I collect them and I say it is an entity set. Okay. So all entities, all similar type of entities are present in this entity set customer. All similar type of customers are present in this entity set customer. What is the similarity? The similarity is every such entity has customer ID, customer name, customer street, customer city. What are these? These ovals are known as attributes. So every entity present in the entity set is associated with these attributes. So again, let us come to loan. Loan is an entity set. In the entity set loan, individual loans are the entity. Individual loans are the entity. Each such entity has attributes. And what are the attributes? The attributes are loan number, amount. What is an attribute? An attribute describes the entity. An attribute describes the entity. Okay. Now, what is this diamond? This diamond is known as a relationship set. The diamond is known as a relationship set. What is a relationship set? In the relationship set denotes the association, the relationship among the entity sets. The relationship, in other words, we can say a single relationship denotes the relationship, the association among one entity with the other entity. What is the relationship from this entity to that, that entity? All such relationships combinedly forms the relationship set. Okay. Now, what is this underlying? Now, these attributes can be divided into several categories. Okay. There can be several types of attributes. What are the types of attributes? We will know. Before that, why here it is underlined? Customer ID is underlined because if I have an attribute which uniquely identifies all the other entities present in the entity set, such an attribute will be known as a unique attribute. In other words, if I have a unique attribute and which is obviously not null, then we will underline that attribute. So if I, since now we know what is a primary key, we can say in other words that customer ID is actually the primary key. Okay, so every such primary keys are underlined. What are the other types of attributes? Other types of attributes are composite attribute. What is a composite attribute? Let me tell you. Here I have attribute called customer name. Instead of customer name, if I have something like this, name, first name, last name, middle name. So name will act as a composite attribute. In this example, customer name is not composite. Okay, but if I have something like this, we have it. Let me show you. Let me show you the example. Yes, let me show you this. Here, see, name is a composite attribute. Customer ID is a unique attribute. Name is a composite attribute. How do I denote it in the entity relationship model? Entity relationship model is depicted using a diagram known as the entity relationship diagram, ER diagram. Entity relationship model, whatever the model depicts, the association, the constraints, these are depicted using a diagram known as the entity relationship diagram. So composite attribute is denoted in this manner. Customer, every entity present in this customer set has a name as an attribute, which is a composite attribute, which is divided into again 3 more attributes known as first name, middle initial or middle name, and the last name. Okay. Again, first name might be divided into something else. Here we don't have, like here we have, suppose address is also a composite attribute. Address is divided into street, city, state, and postal code. Street is again divided. Street is again composite, and it is divided into street number, street name, apartment number. So it forms a hierarchy. A composite attribute can form a hierarchy. We can divide it into several other sub attributes, and those attributes can also act as composite. Okay. Any attribute which is denoted using this symbol is double ellipse or double oval shape is known as derived attribute. Sorry. This is not derived attribute. This is known as multi-valued attribute. Okay. So phone number is depicted using this double symbol, double oval, is known as a multi-valued attribute. What is a multi-valued attribute? That means this particular attribute may be associated with multiple values. So a person, a customer can have multiple phone numbers. A customer can have multiple phone numbers. Again, here, any attribute which is denoted by a dashed symbol is known as a derived attribute. Any attribute which is shown with a dashed symbol is known as a derived attribute. So age is a derived attribute. What is a derived attribute? A derived attribute is such an attribute which gets its value, which fills up its value from another attribute, which can get its value from another attribute. Who is this another attribute? Date of birth. So if I fill up the date of birth, I can obviously derive the value of age. Okay, so if I say date of birth is this one, then I can, instead of filling up the age column, I can derive the value from the date of birth attribute itself. Okay. So what are the things I said? I said that we are studying data model. What is the data model we are studying now? We are studying entity relationship model. What is this entity relationship model? Entity relationship model is a data model which has certain objects which are called entities, which has certain relationship among the objects, and we have certain constraints. There are this model is depicted using a diagram known as entity relationship diagram. In the diagram, we have rectangles as entity sets. Within entity sets, we have entities. So if customer is an entity set, then each individual customer person is an entity. Every such entity has a certain attributes in common. What are the attributes? The attributes here are customer ID, name, address. Now, I said attributes are denoted by oval. An attribute can be composite attribute. If an attribute is composite attribute, I can break it into more number of sub-attributes. So name is a composite attribute, address is a composite attribute. Street is again, address is divided into street, city, state, zip code. Street is divided into these three. The double oval shape of an attribute means it is a multi-valued attribute. That means phone number can have multiple, a customer can have many phone numbers. Customer ID, if it is underlined, the meaning is it is unique and not null. It doesn't have null and it is unique. Age is a derived attribute because it is denoted using a dotted line, and the value is derived from where? The value is derived from date of birth. That means the value of a derived attribute can be obtained from another attribute present in your associated with your entity set. Every entity is associated or is related to another entity set using a relationship denoted by a diamond. Just now I showed you. Suppose let me come here. Customer is an entity set. Account is an entity set. Customer is related to account or is associated with account using a relationship set known as depositor. A relationship set can also have attributes. When it will have attributes, I will let you know just after some time. So a relationship set can also be associated with an attribute. It is not that only entity set has attributes. Relationship sometimes has attributes, not always. Majority of the time it will not have, but sometimes it will have attributes. Am I properly audible?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes,
Yes,
ma'am.
ma'am.
Is the voice lagging?
No, ma'am.
No, ma'am.
No, ma'am.
Okay. Till this, whatever I said is clear. Any doubt? Whatever I said, is it clear or any doubt is there?
Clear, ma'am.
Are you listening? If you are listening,
Yes, ma'am.
Clear, ma'am.
because it is not very difficult. There is nothing. We will study today. Whatever we study, it is relatively very easy. Now, see, another important thing here you have to understand is sometimes you will see there is a double line here. Let me show you. Yes. Suppose this is a customer associated with a loan. That means customer is borrowing a loan. Okay. Here from customer to borrower, I have a single line, and here I have double line. What is the meaning of double line? Double line means total participation. The entity set loan has totally participated with the relationship set borrower. The entity set loan has totally participated in the relationship borrower, relationship set borrower. What is the meaning? The meaning is every loan in this loan entity set should be associated with the customer. There won't be any loan which will be not associated with the customer. When it is hanging, it is not associated with any customer, it is not that case. Total participation means all the entity present in this loan entity set, each and every entity or each and every loan present in this loan entity set is associated with the customer. This is known as total participation. On the other hand, if you look from the customer side, customer to borrower relationship, there is only a single line. That means there may be some customer who doesn't have a loan. Maybe the person is a customer because the customer may have some account, has some account in the bank, so the person is a customer of the bank. But it is not necessary that the customer is associated with loan. Maybe the customer doesn't have a loan. So, but you will say then why this relationship, why customer is associated with loan and the relationship is borrower? Because there are certain customers who have borrowed loan, But some customers are also there who did not borrow any loan. So it is known as partial participation. It is not total participation. From the customer side, it is not total participation, because say why it is not total? All the customers did not borrow a loan. There may be some customers who doesn't have a loan, and some customers are there who is associated with loan, who has a loan. And from this side, if I see from the loan side, every loan, each and every loan present in that loan entity set is associated with the customer, has borrowed. And a loan has been borrowed by the customer. Okay, so understood total participation and partial participation. So when you design your entity relationship diagram, you have to understand your data very well. Until and unless you understand what is there in the data set, what is the relationship that should be reflected, it is a real world scenario you will depict using an entity relationship diagram. So you have to understand, or if in your problem it is mentioned that every customer has a loan, then you will accordingly use total participation. But if it is not mentioned, then you will assume that in the reality, in the real world, every customer has a loan is not logically incorrect. So what you will do? You will write partial participation. Okay, so diagram is very important. Entity relationship diagram, how you are depicting your data set, how you are depicting the relationship, how you are depicting the constraints present. Those things are depicted in the diagram, and ultimately it will get reflected in your database that you are creating. Because the database that we will create from this diagram. I will tell you that, I will show you that. Now I said constraints are also there in the diagram. Where is the constraint? Till now, did I tell you anything about the constraint? I did not say. So constraints are, only I said that customer ID is a unique. That is one of the constraints you can say. But other than that, in the data set, what are the constraints present will be depicted using cardinality. Last day I said you something about cardinality. I said functional dependency also has some cardinality. What is this cardinality present in functional dependency? FD?
One to one, one to
Many
many.
to one.
If it is many to one, from which side to which side it is many to one?
Right side to left side.
That means if I have an FD, from the determinant side to the other side, it is many to one relationship. Many to one also denotes one to one. Okay. Now, I will show you here the cardinality concepts. Wait, let me check where it is present. Just see rectangles which represent entity sets, ellipses, attributes, diamonds are relationship sets, lines, links between entity and relationship set, double ellipses, which represent multi-valued attributes, dashed ellipses, which denote derived attributes, double lines, which indicate total participation, and double rectangles, weak entity sets. I did not say you this, I will tell you. Not today. Okay, let me tell you from here. Suppose customer is an entity set. What is this cardinality? I said cardinality is divided into some types. What are the cardinality types? One to one, one to many to one, many to many. Okay, these are the cardinalities. Now, how do I represent the cardinality? Cardinality is always a constraint. Why it is a constraint? Because when I say one to one cardinality is there between this entity set and that entity set, that means if I say, suppose here, if I say customer and loan, that is a one to one relationship or one to one cardinality. The meaning is one customer can take one loan. A loan can be associated with only one customer. So when you insert your data. This is a restriction. You cannot, since it is one-to-one cardinality mentioned in your year D, you can never insert data in your tables where you will have customer having 2 or more loans. You cannot do that. Why you cannot do that? Because your year D is debit. How many students have joined? 38. Let us start. So, what I was saying is, one-to-one relationship. If I mention that in the year D, if it is mentioned that it is one-to-one relationship among the two entity sets, then in the database also I have to reflect that. Okay, whatever is mentioned in your data year D, it should be reflected in the database. So this is a constraint. This is a restriction. I can never, if it is one-to-one, I can never assign. শুনতে পাচ্ছে না ওরা নয়েজ হচ্ছে Okay. So this is a restriction. Let me show you here in the diagram how I will understand it is a one-to-one or one-to-many, many-to-one. When in this line joining the entity set, if you find an arrow, then that arrow side, whichever side I have the arrow, that will be the one-sided. Okay. So here, and the other side will be many. If I don't have an arrow, then it is many. So how do I read it? A customer can have many loans, but a loan is associated with only one customer. A particular loan is associated with only one customer. So it is one type of, if from customer to loan, it is a one-to-many relationship. Okay, from customer to loan, it is a one-to-many.
Too many means customer can have many loans. Loan is associated with one customer. Okay. Next. See here, the arrow is in the from the relationship set. The arrow is on the loan side, and from the relationship set borrower, there is no arrow here. So how do I read it? From customer to loan, if I read it, I will read it as many to one. A loan associated with many customer, a customer can have only one loan. But in reality, it should not be. Just here it is shown like this. Here it is made one to one. One to one means customer can have one loan. A loan is associated with one customer. And this is many to many. A customer can have many accounts in the bank. An account can be associated with many customers. In the sense, it can be joint account. If I have joint account, I can have multiple customers associated with the account. Okay. So this was your cardinality. Now, how do I represent all these things? Achha, what is a weak entity set? I will not tell you today. How do I represent a weak entity set? By using a double rectangle. So suppose customer is a weak entity set, I will represent it using a double rectangle. This is a symbol, but what is that? I will tell you. Before that, let me complete about the cardinality concepts. It is not yet completed. I will show you the what file. What is all these things I was talking about entity relationship model. There is another model called ER model. Relational model, sorry. ER model is this one itself. There is another model called relational model. What is this relational model? Relational model says that we will depict the data, the relationships, the constraints using relations. What are relations? Relations are tabular structures. Okay, the ones we already know, the tables. So relational model and entity relationship model is different. Entity relationship model says that we will depict all the real world scenario problem using the entity relationship diagram, where we have entity sets, relationship sets, and attributes, total participations. All these things are depicted using a diagram. Relational model, not entity relationship, only relational model says that we will depict the real world scenario data set along with its constraints and other details using a tabular structure called relations. The attributes in that tabular structure are the columns. Each entity is a tuple of that table or relation, and all the tuples together is my entity set. Okay, so the tables that we have designed last day, that depicts a relational model. Now the thing is, what we do is, suppose a problem is given to you, suppose library management system. We have been given details about books, staffs, maintenance, which student has taken on which data. All these details are present with me. The raw data is present with me. And somebody has asked me that you prepare a library management system. You prepare the database for library management system. Okay. Now for doing this, what is the first step? The first step is, since we are dealing with RDBMS, we will first of all design a model. What model we will design? We will design entity relationship model via a diagram. So the first step that we will do is we will design the ER diagram. Okay. First, we will not go and create table name. We will not do this. We will design the ERD. How we will design the ERD? In order to design the ERD, everybody is listening.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
In order to design the ERD, you have to go through your data set manually. Manually, you have to find out. Let me find out what is written in the problem. Let me find out what are the constants mentioned in the problem. Let me find out in reality what happens. So all these things, requirement analysis you have to do. All these, once you know your data set very well, then once you know your data set, then you can design the ERD. Okay. Now, you will say that from where, ma'am, I will get the attributes. Either it will be mentioned in your problem, or if it is not mentioned in your problem, you have to identify what will be the attributes. Which attribute will be multi-valued? Which attribute can be derived attribute? Whether it will be total participation or not? What will be the cardinality? All these things, if it is not mentioned, then you have to study your real scenario. You have to go through some library management system. You have to manually do all these things. Okay, your intelligence will do all these things, and then you will find out, okay, these are the things. I will mention these constraints in this manner, and I will design a ERD. Okay, that's why suppose I give a ERD to group 1 student, and I give a same for the same problem, I ask them to prepare a ERD, it will not match. You will see that group 1 has given me a particular ERD, and group 2 has given me another ERD. There may be similarity among the two ERDs, but it will not exactly match because the thinking is not matching. Okay, maybe the group 1 student have thought that this should be, the cardinality should be 1 to 1, and the group 2 student thought, no ma'am, it will be 1 to many because I think this. Okay, so it depends on the thinking, how you are thinking, and how appropriately you are thinking logically. That will be reflected, those thoughts will be reflected in your ERD. So ERD is a very important thing. You should give a lot of time in ERD. In the industry also, they give a lot of time on this designing phase. Once you prepare the ERD, suppose you have prepared a ERD and you have provided me. Now what I will do with that? What is my, on my headache is to design the database. Actually create the tables, normalize the tables, and then apply the constraints, insert data, all these things I will be doing. But the designers are you. So you have provided me the ERD. Now what I will do is, I will convert the ER diagram or the entity relationship model that you have provided me to relational model. So entity relationship model gets converted to relational model. Okay. So now how I will convert the entity relationship diagram or the model to relational model, that I will show you now. Let me stop sharing this one. Students, you're getting disturbed because my daughter is studying here loudly. She is learning by heart because I
No
said that
problem.
I will take an exam after I complete my class, and so she's studying loudly here. Okay. Now see what I will show you. Suppose I have a course. Let me show you. I have a student entity set. I have a student entity set. See, I'm not showing you symbols. Let me show you some symbols. Suppose this is the student entity set. And I have another entity set, course, summer courses. Let me just give the name courses. And you have a relationship among them.
Ma'am, in basic shapes.
The relationship is student enrolls in courses. Which courses? Summer training courses. In the third year, you have to attend some summer training courses. So I'm talking about that course. Okay. Student enrolls in summer training courses. And now I will show you the cardinality that can exist. All possible cardinalities I will show you. And then I will convert this ER diagram to a relational model. So cardinality is here. First of all, let me show you one to many, many to one. Sometimes instead of an arrow, in some books you will find they have written 1:n. I had said you last day, Mr. Ravi. 1:n means one this side, many, n means many. Okay, and one means one. That means it will be one. If I write here one, and if I write here n, that means one to many. If I write this side n, and if I write this side one, that means it is many to one. And if I write n here and n there, that means it is many to many. This is one type of notation. Instead of this notation, you could also have used that arrow, the one I showed you from book. Okay, one. If you have an arrow, that means that side one, and if you don't have an arrow, that side many. Other than this, there are also certain other notations that advanced notations. I will not tell you that today. Next day I will be telling you. Now here, suppose student has certain attributes, and the attributes are, let me just give you 2 or 3 attributes. I have student ID. Student ID. I have student student name. It will be oval. Student name, and the last one is. I will not add the last one now. I will add it. Here on the other side, I have course ID. I have course ID, and I have course name. I have course name. Okay. I don't have anything else for the time being. And let me join them. Now, if I ask you to convert this, suppose this is 1-to-1 relationship. If I ask you to convert this to the relational model, what you will do is, you will consider the entity sets as tables. So student will be one of the table, courses entity set will be the second table. This is the first thing you will do. You are converting the ER model to a relational model. So I will insert a table. I will create a table. So for the time being, it has 2 attributes. Okay. So first thing will be what? it will be a student table. Student table. The attributes, whatever you have mentioned there, like name, student ID is one of the attributes. And name is the second attribute. Okay. Similarly, I have a course table. This entity set will be another table. So it will be course table. Course table. And I have what? Course ID as one of the attribute and course name is the second attribute. So course ID, I have COR. Course ID is the first attribute and the course name the second attribute. Now course ID is the primary key. I have to underline this one. Let me underline it. And course ID here will also get underlined. So I understood that student ID is the primary key. And here course ID is the primary key. Acha, student ID is the primary key here and course ID is the primary key. I have created a table in this manner. Now, since there is a relationship among student ID and courses, I have to mention that relationship. I have to denote that relationship in my table. How I will denote the relationship? It depends on what cardinality I have. This is a very important point I am telling you now. Please listen carefully. How I will denote the relationship among student table and course table, whether there is any relationship or not, it depends on whether I have a relationship set between them or not. And if I have, what type of cardinality I have? If I have a one-to-one cardinality, then what I will do is I will take the primary key of any one entity set, any one, either this one or that one, and put it into the other table. So what did I say? Since there is a one-to-one relationship and I have to mention that relationship among the two tables, for the time being, the table that I have designed doesn't have any relationship among them. I will simply write student roll number 1 has taken, the name is A, student roll number 2, name is B, and course is C1, the name is Big Data, and course C2, name is Spark. I have mentioned this, but I never mentioned which student has taken which course. Whether a student can take how many courses. A course can have how many students. Nothing, no relationship yet has been mentioned. In order to mention that, I have to assign one of the column from here to the other column. Now the question is, which column I will assign where? Whether I will assign student ID here or I will assign course ID here in this table. That decision lies on what type of relationship you have. Since you have one-to-one, either the primary key of this table or the primary key of that table can be taken and joined with the other table. So here, let me take course ID. So I'm taking course ID, and I have joined it to student table. So what I will write? Student 1 has taken which course? C1 course. One-to-one relationship. So student 2 has taken which course? C2 course. I can never write student 1 has also taken C1 course. Why? Because it is a one-to-one relationship. A course will be associated with only one student. A student will be associated with only one course. Okay. So which one I am adding? I could have done this, or instead of doing this, I could have done otherwise. That is, the student ID primary key could have been attached here. And here, what would I have written? C1 has been taken by which student? Student 1. and C2 has been taken by which student? Student 2. So it won't create any problem, no redundancy, nothing. So it is perfectly all right. Any one you can take and attach it with the other, and then it will create the relationship among the two students. Two tables, two entity set. Okay, is it clear? Till now, is it clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Before
Yes,
proceeding,
ma'am.
let me tell you, let me ask you that the very first day when I was talking about constraints, primary key, unique, what are the constraints? Can anybody name the 5 constraints I discussed? Can anybody name the 5 constraints I have discussed?
First one is primary key.
Hmm.
Second, unique constant. Third, foreign key. Fourth, not null. Fifth, check constant.
Fourth is not null. Then check constraint,
ma'am.
unique key,
Yes, ma'am.
primary key, and the other one,
Non-primary, foreign key.
foreign key. Did I say you about? Did I say the details about foreign key? How to create foreign key? What is a foreign key? Did I say?
Yes, ma'am.
No, most
Yes, ma'am.
probably. I did not. I said
No,
it.
ma'am.
No, ma'am.
No, ma'am.
I did not say. What I can recognize is I did not say. Now see, now I will tell you because this is the point when I should talk about foreign key. See, just listen carefully. Student table here. Student ID. See what spelling I have written. Student ID. All of you will listen carefully. Student ID is the common column among the two tables, isn't it? In this particular scenario, where there is a one-to-one relationship among this, and I am converting the year model to relational model, student ID is the common column among the two tables. By joining the student table here, I'm trying to maintain the relationship among the two tables. Which two tables? Student table and course table. Since student ID is a primary key of this table, then the other one, that means the other common column, that is student ID, will be termed as the foreign key. Okay, so the common column among the common column, one column will be the primary key, the other one, in whichever table it is present, will be known as the foreign key. Now, which table will be known as the master table? Whenever I have a relationship like that, the table where the common column is a primary key is known as the master table or parent table. The table where I have the common column as the foreign key is known as the child table or detailed table. Detailed table. Understood? Is it clear? Because this should be clear. Today I will show you also in the SQL how to design this. So what did I say? In order to maintain the relationship among the two tables, I have taken the primary key of any one table and attached with the other. Here, student ID was the primary key of student table. I have attached student ID to the course table. Student ID is the primary key of the student table. Hence, student ID is known as the master table or parent table. Course table, student ID is the foreign key. So course table is known as the child table or detailed table. Child table of whom? Whose child table? Student's child table. It is not a permanent child table for everyone. All the tables that are present in your database, and it is a very small ERD I'm showing you. Your ERD won't be very small, isn't it? There are only 2 entity sets I have mentioned. When next day you will see it will grow. There will be many entity sets. There will be many tables in your table. So don't think that course table is a child table for everyone. It is, I'm talking only among the 2 tables. Course table is a child of student. Okay. whenever you create a table, listen carefully. Whenever you create a table, first of all, parent table data should be inserted. Then you can insert data in the child table. Or in other words, parent table must be created first. Then the table should be created. Parent table data should be inserted first, and then the child table data should be inserted. Never try to create a child table if the parent table doesn't exist. Never try to insert data into the child table if parent table data is not inserted. Okay? All of you are writing all these things in your copy. You should take running notes. Okay? Second point. Everybody has taken in your copy or whatever I am saying.
Yes, ma'am.
What is the restriction? I said for so many times I am saying cardinality is the restriction. What is the restriction? If I have a foreign key, if I have a parent primary key, what is the restriction? These are restrictions, isn't it? Constraints, many restrictions. What is the restriction here? Very, very important point. Listen carefully. In case of, there are two sorts of restrictions. One is insertion restriction, another one is deletion restriction. I cannot insert something, I cannot delete something. What I cannot insert, what I cannot delete, listen. I can never insert a record like this. Suppose I have student 1 has name is A, student 2 has name is B, and here I have written course C1 has been taken by student ID 1 and course 2 has been taken by student ID 4. I can never insert a record in the child table corresponding to student ID column if it doesn't exist in the parent table. What is the meaning? Since student roll number 4 doesn't exist in your parent table, I can never insert such a record in the child table. So if roll number 4 is not there, how can roll number 4 take a course? Okay, logically also it is not correct. So what is the insertion restriction? I can never insert a record in the child table if it is not present in the parent table. Who is not present? Which column particularly I am talking about? I am talking about these two common columns. So parent must have that data, then only I can insert it into the child. Clear? If you try to do this, you will see, if you try to insert this type of record, roll number 4, taking course C2, you will see an error, and the error will be parent key not found. Parent key not found. Whenever you get such an error, you will understand, okay, that means I'm trying to insert a record in the child and the parent doesn't have that record. So it is showing error, parent key not found. Here, so you will not do that. Second thing, you cannot, so let me change it. You cannot delete a record from the parent table if it is not present in, if it is present in your child table. So I can never delete a record, this one, because one has been referenced by a child table. One has been referenced. So the record 1 is present in your child table. So you cannot delete it from the parent table. Because if you delete it from the parent table, then again the first condition is getting violated. The data is present in your child table and parent doesn't have the data. Okay. So deletion restriction is associated with your parent table. Insertion restriction is associated with your child table. Is it clear? So if you try to delete a record in this record from the parent table, then you will see foreign key violated. Foreign key violated. Or foreign constraint violated. Something in this, some sort of this error you get. Is it clear? Is this part clear? Any doubt here? Tell me.
No doubt, ma'am.
Anyone else? Any doubt? Others are listening or sleeping or doing mobile watch. What y'all are doing? I don't get any response. Only very one or two students response. Others, I don't know what
I'm
they
listening,
do.
ma'am.
Hmm?
Listening, ma'am.
Listening. Only one or two students always response. And I can name those students also. Though I cannot see when I share the screen, I cannot see the participants, but still I know who responds. What about others? Anyway, I'm stopped before telling about one to many, many to one cardinality. Let me stop share because only few minutes are left. Then again rejoin all of you. अच्छा, it is safe नहीं ना, not safe for you. Always I find that on an average 40 students attend the class. Why? What is every class you all do this, or only in my class you all attend so less students attend? Hmm? Out of 60 students, 60 or more students maybe, only on an average 40 students attend. Such an important subject. You should attend the classes. I don't know what is the problem with them. So casual, so careless. Let's start again. So now we will know what is you're very busy in giving your attendance. What you will do with attendance? More or less everybody gets attendance. Only 5 or 6 marks is there, isn't it? Only those who don't attend classes, very few attendances there, they get very bad marks. Otherwise, more or less, you'll get the same marks. So what you will do with attendance? Only attendance is important. Then give the attendance and go out. Because I have found that the students who don't attend or don't listen, they only cannot answer. They only cannot, in the answer sheet, I don't find any answers from them. The students who regularly join the classes, they always perform well. Everywhere they perform well. So when they can spend their time here, why the other students cannot? They are busy in what? Sleeping or what they do? I'm sure they are not doing any fruitful work now. Now many to one or one to many? One to many. If I say here that it's a one by one, let me tell you. If I say it is a many to one relationship, that means if I say many this side, student side many and courses side one. Okay, then what you will tell? How we will read it? A student can attend only one course. Can I add it here? So a student can attend only one course. A course can have many students. If I have many to one relationship, which is more logical. So a student can attend only one course. A course can have many students. A course can have many students. If I have such a cardinality, then how I will denote the relationship? Can anybody tell me? Which side I will add whom? If I have a many to one relationship, then which side I will add the primary key of whom? Will I add, suppose I'm adding student ID to the course table. Student ID to the course table. Okay. When I add student ID to the course table, then what I will do? What I will write here? I said a student can attend only one course. So roll number 1 has taken course 1 and roll number 2 has taken course roll number 1 has taken, no, roll number 1 has taken, C1 has, okay, roll number 2 has taken this one. Let me add some more rows here. Suppose roll number 3 has also taken course C1. Roll number 4 has also taken, because a course can have many students, isn't it? It is a many to one. So roll number 4 has also taken course C1 and roll number 5 has also taken course C1. What is the name of C1? What is the course name? What is the course name of
Big
C1?
data.
Big
Big
data.
data.
From where? From the very first row. You all came to know the course name was Big Data. If I have 1000 students taking course C1, then how many times I have to repeat course name? 1000 times I have to repeat. From the very first row, it was clear to all the students that the course name of C1 course ID was Big Data. But still, since 1000 students have taken the course C1, so 1000 times I'm repeating big data, big data, big data, big data. Maybe there are other attributes also. Suppose course start date. So everywhere big data will start on the same day, and you will write, suppose 7th May this one, 7th May this, 7th May this. So I will go on repeating. Maybe course is suppose, hello? Yes, you can, am I audible properly? Course instructor. So
Repeat the last
instructor will
one, please.
also,
Yeah.
suppose,
Okay, fine, fine,
suppose here I have course instructor, course, let me add the column state. Suppose I have course date, starting date, or duration, whatever you want. I have also instructor. So everywhere, big data, the date will repeat. Everywhere, wherever C1 is there, the instructor will also repeat. So we are having lot of redundancy when I'm adding the student ID primary column from the student table to the course table. Or in other words, when I'm adding the primary key from the many-sided table or many-sided entity set to the one-sided entity set, then I'm having lot of redundant data here. So what I have to do, let me check the other one. Suppose I'm adding course ID to the other side. I'm adding here course ID. Roll number 1 has taken, name is A, has taken course C1. Roll number 2 has also taken course C1. Roll number 3 . Roll number 3, whose name is C, has taken course C2. So this way, see, C1, maybe 1000 students have taken from your class course C1, but I have to repeat it because C1 is not redundant. 1 has taken C1, 2 has taken C1. These information are required, because if you don't add C1, if you don't write here, then you won't understand that roll number 2 has taken which course. So this repetition of course ID is not redundant. But here if I add student ID, then everywhere, since 1000 students have taken course C1, so the courses name, duration, instructor, these things are repeatedly going on added redundantly. From the very first row, it was clear that big data was the name of course C1, instructor is ABC, and course date is this one. But still everywhere, wherever C1 is there, I am repeating those information. That was redundant. Okay, so what is the conclusion from here? The conclusion is, whenever I have a many-to-one relationship or one-to-many relationship, I should take the primary key from the one-sided table and attach it to the many-sided entity set or table. Understood? All of you have written? I should
Repeat once.
whenever I have a many-to-one relationship or one-to-many relationship, many-to-one or one-to-many relationship, I should attach the primary key of the one-sided table. Don't write table, write entity set. From the one-sided entity set to the many-sided entity set. So that redundancy is reduced as much as possible. So that redundancy is reduced as much as possible. Is it clear? See, it won't be an error if you do the alternate thing. It won't be error that if you add student ID on the course table, no error is there, because there is no hard and fast rule as such. Whatever I wrote, made you write. But a good designing table can be designed in many ways, but good design is very important. Okay, so in order to reduce, good design says that redundancy should be as less as possible. So in order to do a good design, this rule should be maintained by all of you. This is a good designing practice. Who is writing on the chat box? What happened? Why are you writing your roll number? It is popping every time and it is very distracting. Don't write your roll number. Only when I ask you, you will write. When I asked you in the beginning, some of 23 students had entered, others did not enter. Then again, you all entered the class and you all are going on adding your roll number. Only when I will ask, I will only check those roll numbers when I ask. I get the time and I write those roll numbers. Again, in the last or whenever in the middle, if I ask you to again enter the roll numbers, you will enter. Don't enter it on your own. I will not check those. Okay. So understood? When it is a one-to-one relationship, either this table or that this entity set or from that entity set, you can take the primary key and add it to the other side. When it is a many-to-one or one-to-many, take the primary key from the one-sided table and attach it to the many-sided table. This will enforce to get less number of redundant data. Otherwise, lot of redundancy will be there and you will face a problem later on. Some anomalies will be there. Next, if it is a many-to-many, if the cardinality is many-to-many, when it is a many-to-many cardinality, that means a student can get enrolled in many courses. A course can have many students, isn't it? A student can get enrolled in many courses. A course can have many students. Okay. When there is a many-to-many relationship, what I will do is I will attach attribute to the relationship set. It is not. It is also optional. If you don't attach, let me attach first, then I will tell you. What I will do, I will assign an attribute to the relationship set. So here, let me write date of enrollment. Date of enrollment. Any attribute you can attach, whatever is applicable to your problem. Not only one attribute, you can attach here more than one attributes. Any number of attributes can be attached to the relationship set. Okay, I have added here 1. Now what you will do, when there is a many-to-many relationship, you will have 3 tables. What are the 3 tables? One table will be student table. The attributes will be student ID and name. No other attributes from other tables will be there. The second table will be course table. The attributes will be course ID, course name, course date, whatever you have in your entity set. And the third table will be, there will be the third table. The third table will be enrolled table. Enroll table. And in the enroll table, who will be the attributes? Primary key of this table, primary key of the second table, and its own attributes. So primary key of the second table is student ID. And its own attribute is what? Enrollment date. Enrollment date. Here in the enroll table, course ID and student ID combinedly will act as the primary key. Combinedly. Enrollment date is a normal attribute. So here I will write C1 course has been taken by student ID. What is the enrollment date? When did the student enroll? C1 has also been taken by course student 2 by 3, 7, and C2 has been taken by student 4 and their corresponding enrollment dates. Okay. These two is unique. And here what I will do? Here course ID will be the primary key and in this table student ID will be the primary key. Is it clear to everyone? So whenever there is a one-to-one relationship from the ER model, when you are designing the relational model, only for those two entity sets, you will design two tables. When it is many to one or one to many, you will design two tables. But when it is many to many, you will design three tables. One for the two entity sets and the third one is for the relationship set. Is it clear to everyone? Have
Yes,
you
ma'am.
written it down in your copy? Because
Yes,
when I
ma'am.
ask
Yes,
you to
ma'am.
design, when you will do later on, you will design your tables, you should follow these rules. Everybody strictly should follow the rules. So cardinality is very, very important. You should follow the cardinality and accordingly you should design your tables. Okay. Fine. Now, let me show you some other things. So, ERT we will continue again, not today. I will show you this foreign key. Since I said you about foreign key, let me tell you about the foreign key from SQL. Okay, I'm stopping this. কথা বলো না, আমি পড়াচ্ছি তো। Okay. Now tell me, foreign key will be added on which side? Just now I said you course or student side. Which side? If I have a many to one relationship,
Student side.
student side, isn't it? So I have not done that. Okay. So here I am not adding a primary key. Let me. I have course name done. I have added primary key. Okay. So table, this one is created. Now just let me copy this. I can use the up arrow, and here what I can do is I can change the name to student. Same name. I cannot have same table name. So primary key has been added, and now I will add of another column which is student ID, isn't it? No, course ID. So course ID. Course ID. What is the, whenever you add a foreign key, you should do one thing. The data type, the common column data type and size should be same. The common column data type and size should be same. Moreover, another thing is the name may be same, may not be same. Maybe here you have written course ID and there you have written CID. So that will not create a problem. It is optional. You may give the same, exactly the same spelling, or you can give some other spelling. That is not the problem. But data type and size of the common column should be same. Now, course ID, varchar 2, and what is the size I gave there for course ID? 12. 12. Course ID varchar to 12, and course ID is what I want. I want it to be a foreign key. So I will write constraint. Let the name of the constraint be FK1, and then I will write references. References, which table? This is a child table. Wherever I'm adding a foreign key, that table is a child table. So child table always references the parent table. So who is the parent table? Course is the parent table. So references, parent table name. Which column of parent table does it refer? It refers the primary key. Common column is primary key. So course ID. This is the syntax. This syntax is for column level declaration. Just beside the column, I'm mentioning the constraint. So what is the constraint? Course ID, varchar 212, constraint FK1, references, parent table name, column name. Which column I am referencing? Okay. FK1 is used.
And the constraint PK1 is, I think, repeating there. Can we have that same PK primary key name?
No, I cannot. One minute. Oh, achha, this one is repeating this. So PK1 is repeating. I can never have same constraint name. So let it be PK1 too. Done. So parent table is created, child table is created. This syntax is clear to everyone, but how did I create a foreign key? Now what I will do is I will insert, always remember to insert data in the parent table first and then in the child table. Okay. So if I do the other thing, I will show you the error. Insert into student. Student is your child table. Values. I'm directly writing this statement. Values. First one is ID, student ID. So it is 1. Next is name, AB, and the third one is course ID. So let it be C1. Integrity constraint violated. Which key? FK11, that foreign key constraint violated. So parent key not found. Just now, just before this, I said you parent key not found. So what you have to do? You have to insert first in the course table. So you will insert in the course table first. course has first one is what? Course ID, isn't it? So it will be C1. What was the second? Course name. So it was big data. And the third one was student ID. Student ID is number. Number. So let it be roll number 1.
There is no such like there's only two attributes, ma'am. Like C1 and
1
B.
minute. Course table. Course table is 2. Okay. So now let us this was your parent table. After you do insertion, you should always write commit, and then you try to insert in the course table. One row created. See, this is your child table. Student 1 is your child table. Now in the child table, 1 row created, commit. Okay. So this was foreign key. Now the thing is, if you forget to assign the foreign key constant, suppose later on you are doing it. So how do you do this? We already have an suppose I'm dropping the constraint. Drop constraint P K 1 2. Can I drop it? Oh, sorry. Alter table. Alter table. What was the name? PK1 to which? Where did I add? Student. Table alter. I have dropped the constant. Which constant I have dropped? PK12, which was the primary key constant. It is required, isn't it? So what later on, if I want to add it, how I will do it? Alter table student add constraint PK12. And what is the constraint type? Primary key. Which column I am adding primary key? I'm adding ID column. Table altered. So the primary key has been added. Similarly, I can add a foreign key. Okay. Suppose, how do I add a foreign key using alter table? Whenever I do alter table, I am doing table level declaration. Okay. When I do table level declaration, I write in this manner, alter. See, I already have it, so let me drop it first. Alter table. What was the name? Course. Alter table course. Drop constraint. The name was FK1, isn't it? What was the name? Let me check.
FK1 was in student table.
The foreign key was in the student table. So alter table student. Drop constraint FK11. So it has been dropped. Now I again want to assign it. So suppose it is not there. So later on you found that you will assign the foreign key constraint. So how you will do that? Alter table student add constraint. Instead of giving a name, you could also directly write add foreign key. Which is the foreign key? Tell me. In the student table, who was the foreign key? Course
Course
ID.
ID.
So what was the name? Course ID. COURSCID. What was the data type? No, sorry. Data type is already there. So foreign key course ID. References whom? References course table. Master table. Course table. Which column of course table? Course ID column. Table order. So this is the method of adding a foreign key constraint later on when you forget to add the constraint. Once the table has been created, you can alter the table and add the constraint in this manner. Okay. Now, another. So now in your assignments, I have marked yellow. You can obviously do those things. Okay, those I have taught. Another thing I will teach it, and then every all those questions you can attempt. Another thing is, how can I create? There was a question in the assignment. How can I create a table from another table? Suppose I want to create a backup of a table. Suppose student table has when you get the formatting of the display in this manner, what you can do is you can write set line size. Suppose I'm writing 1000. Now you write select start from table name. Still it is not okay. So you change the value. So you change that line size value and check whether you are getting properly or not. Set it. Okay, this is the method. You just change the value and check when you are getting a proper formatting of the output. You change this 100, 1000. How many characters I can hold in a single line? Okay. Now, what I wanted to show you is there are certain values in the table, student table. Now, I want to create a backup. Let me check how many values are there in the EMP table. Last day I had created the EMP or employee. Which one did I create? This is your employee table. I want to create a backup of employee table. How I will create? I will write create table. Let me give a name, employee underscore backup. Instead of writing data type, the column names, the data sets, I will simply write as select start from employee. Table created. So what happened? Just let me check whether the table has been created or not. Describe employee. Now, what is the name? Employee backup. Employee underscore backup. Start from employee. What happened, Rajdeep? See, employee underscore backup. Employee ID has come is one of the attribute. Salary is the other attribute. Same data type, same values. Okay, I did not create it. I neither inserted it nor did I write employee ID, bad cat, salary, number, all these things I did not do. Exactly whatever columns were there in the employee table, whatever data type was there for those columns, whatever size was mentioned for each column, and whatever data set was there in your employee table, exactly the same has been created. This is known as method of creating a table from another table. Okay, what was the syntax? What did I show you? Create table employee underscore backup, or whatever table name you want to give as select star from employee. Now the thing is, you may ask me, you may say that, ma'am, I'm not going to copy the values. I will only copy the structure. Then what you will do? You will write a where clause here, where 1 is equal to 2. 1 is equal to 2 is a false condition. Since it is a false condition, none of the rows will get selected. This is the method, but since the name is already existing, let me give another name. So table created. Now what will happen? If you just check the table, you will see no rows has been selected because I have given a false condition. So let's start from employee underscore backup. Rajdeep, what happened? Huh? Okay. Daughter has become so naughty. She has joined the class, with the name Rajdeep. What will happen when they will grow up? I don't know. Okay. So, Acha, let us leave here. All of you give your attendance again once more. Students, are you getting what I am teaching? Are you listening, finding interest?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
So why the attendance is so less?
Please repeat.
Why the attendance is so less?
Ma'am, I think this is the most attended class of any of the teachers.
My God, how many students are there, in your class? 65, most probably. So what are the other students doing? Okay. So all of you have given the attendance? Now just see, 27 students have given now. And total participants is 37. 29.
29 আর 28 আমি আর 31 আমার 59 32 30
So by when you will submit the assignment? You'll decide among yourself and let me know. In the Google Classroom, you will let me know, okay? Let me stop share because my daughter has